Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
We know Tim Winton for some of our favourite books, Breath, Cloud Street, Dirt Music, to name just a few. While storytelling in books is where we usually find his magic, this time he has something different in store for us on the screen. Ningaloo in West Australia is a place Tim has visited, he's loved, he's wept for, he's advocated for over 30 years. And through a documentary, he's taking this place to the world. He joins us now to chat about it. Tim, hello.
Oh, hi, hey.
And it's great to talk to you. I know that you don't like doing media interviews, so it's taking you some time to get to this point.
We're thrilled.
So it must be important.
Oh well, yeah, it is important, and it's been a long journey to make this program, and I'm just glad I survived it, to be honest.
Well, some extraordinary things do happen to you on screen, but first of all, for those of us that don't know much about the region, tell us about why it's so special and why it could be under threat.
Yeah, well, it's on the northwest coast of Western Australia, which is usually better known for mining and industrial activity, but it's the last sort of pristine part of northern Australia, and it has three main ecosystems: Ningaloo Reef, which is a fringing coral reef. Cape Range, which is an arid, mountain range, and Exmouth Gulf, which is an enormous estuary, about 50 times the size of Sydney Harbour. It's a kind of really rare place in that it's remote and pristine, and it's probably, if I can describe it this way, if you get in the water there, you'll see more charismatic megafauna, big animals, in one day than you will anywhere else in the world, including the Serengeti. The place is just teeming because it's on the edge, the shortest part of Australia's continental shelf, so it's where Australia hangs at the edge of the really, really deep water, at the edge of the abyss. So all these animals are just coming in really, really close to shore, and so you can be with a whale shark, pop your head up and look at the desert, and you can see the beach, and you won't see a building for 300 kilometres. So it's a rare experience, and that's why people come from all over the world to visit it.
And the reef itself is a fair way off the coast, isn't it?
No, that's right on shore.
Oh, is it?
You can. No, it's a Great Barrier Reef's 20 nautical miles, and you've got to go out and a big tour and go out and see it. At Ningaloo, you just walk off the beach, kneel down, put your face in the water, and you're in it. And that's the glory of it, but it also means it's fragile and needs to be well managed.
When you said there's lots of big animals, what big animals do you see?
Well, you see humpback whales, orcas, whale sharks, which is the biggest fish in the sea, manta rays, 4 species of turtle, 3 species of dolphin, dugongs, the list goes on and on. Huge stingrays. You can swim with a tiger shark if that's your thing. It happens to be my thing, but it makes the heart go pitter-pat, I can tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
How does that...
It's amazing, yeah.
How does that become a thing, to swim with tiger sharks? Do you do it by accident to start with, and then you go, oh, this is cool?
Well, you can do it as part of a tour. It's a pretty lovely thing to be in a shallow water lagoon where the water is turquoise and all the ripply bottom, and the tiger's just a big mellow animal just waiting for a sick turtle. As long as you don't look like a sick turtle, and
all right.
If you haven't got a hangover and you're not carrying a really huge backpack, you're half a chance. But there's just so many big, beautiful animals that you can get up close to. And I think it's good for humans to be in a pristine place that's still intact and alive, because it reminds us what the world is and has been. And the places like Ningaloo are places that we've made smart decisions about, sometimes tough and bold decisions about in order to preserve them. And it's a kind of a beacon of hope to me that we can do this at other places and save great ecosystems for our children's children. I've got 4 grandkids now. I want them and their kids to be able to experience what I've had at Ningaloo over 30 years, which is just bulk moments of joy. We just you come back to the beach or you climb back into the boat just talking gibberish because you can't believe what you've just seen.
Oh, how brilliant. Tell us about the moment with tagging the dugong, which was much harder, I imagine, than it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, we were able to, as part of the show, fund science expeditions, so to be able to participate in new science and increase knowledge while we were shooting, which was great. So we helped the first tagging expedition of dugongs in Exmouth Gulf. It's a global sort of stronghold for them, and these are big animals. They're 400, 500 kilos, and they're in these herds of hundreds, and you have to kind of, it's a little bit like rounding up cattle. You pick one off the edge, and then you have to. They swim pretty fast for a mellow animal, and you jump off a jet ski onto it, and then a whole team of scientists join you, and you're all trying to hold the animal, and you swim it back to the boat. You have to do it in very shallow water or it'll drown you, because everyone's wearing crash helmets.
Wow.
Because it's a big, strong animal, and it's understandably trying to rub you off against the bottom the way a horse will rub you off against a tree. And then you get it into a sling, get it calm, we sort of reassure it that you're not going to eat it or do anything weird to it, although you actually do some weird things to it, because you're kidnapping it for science, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like it's been kidnapped by aliens, and sadly it does involve the probe. But so you have to sex it. Then they take DNA, and we put satellite tags on and do all this stuff. But honestly, to hold a 450 kilo mammal in your arms, which is not normally illegal, but you're doing this under scientific permit. It's a pretty rare and amazing experience. And this animal's just looking at you, thinking, "Dude, all I was doing was eating seagrass."
Is this up my bum?
What's this about? Yeah.
The dugong
Get your hand out of my bum.
goes home to the family. You won't believe the day I had today.
That's right, Marge.
Because
they abducted me, they took me, and the probe.
Didn't, in the old days, the old sailors, didn't they think the dugongs were mermaids?
Yeah, and look, they do have. They're different to a dolphin or a whale, because dolphins and whales have a single spiracle, a single blowhole. These guys have two nostrils, a bit like Dino out of the Flintstones, which is obviously a generational reference that half the listeners won't get.
We get it.
But they have a face. I mean, it's a face that only a mother would love. Let's be honest. But they really do. You can feel where they used to have shoulders. I guess if you're at sea for 2 years, and unless you're the cabin boy, you haven't had any action. You could probably imagine that these were mermaids. But
you weren't tempted, Tim?
No. Put it this way: they eat seagrass, and you're right up in their face, and they've got sort of vegan breath, fasting vegan breath that's just come out of the gym. So no, wasn't tempted.
It's not for you.
Not for me.
You'd rather swim in a crevice.
Oh God, I've done some weird things for the show. Having to go 20 metres underground to see these blinds.
I don't know how you did that. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it unless I was made to do it. Look, it's I had some exciting experiences. I got to hang off the front of a whale shark, which is also illegal, and take parasites off its lips as part of a scientific program. It's like hypnotising a chicken. If you pick except it's 19,000 kilos as an animal. But scientists have found a way of stopping the whale shark in the water by picking parasites off its face, and if the thing just slows down in the water, it's pushing you backwards. You've got to get in front of it and scratch its face, and it comes over all funny, and then it slows down, and then it goes vertical and pushes you up to the surface, which is nice because you're holding your breath and you're hoping that it will. Otherwise, you're going to drown, and it just stops dead in the water and lets you clean it like the way the cleaner fish does. And then the scientists come in and put all their instruments on it and take take DNA, put the ultrasound on it to check its organs. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, otherwise you'd have to kill it to study it.
Oh, yeah, we don't want that.
No, I mean, half the population's sort of disappeared in the last 70 years, so they're in bad nick. At Ningaloo, it's a haven for them, and as soon as they leave the safety of the marine park, they're in trouble in the world's oceans.
Well, so people still kill whale sharks?
Yeah, there's poor people in the Pacific and in the Asian areas that'll either kill it because they're afraid of it, or kill it because there's 19,000 kilos of meat. It'll be 19,000 kilos of meat that's full of mercury, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Don't eat it
with your chips, but not everybody knows that, and so look, there's a lot of animals that have a haven and a sanctuary at Ningaloo that are in trouble elsewhere just because there aren't protections elsewhere. And, we're just trying to get that story out about how precious these animals are. I mean, look, Ningaloo is a classic place for recovery. When I was a kid, I lived in Australia's last whaling town in Albany, and whaling only stopped in Australia in 1978. I was 18, and at that time there were only 300 humpback whales left in the western population. So that's right on the very brink of extinction. Because we made our government stop whaling, all these years later, there are now 30 or 40,000 humpback whales in the same population.
That's great.
And it's just a great good news story. It's the biggest conservation success story of my lifetime.
Wow.
And you can go to Ningaloo and see them where they have their babies and where they're resting in Exmouth Gulf. And it's a wonderland. The problem is that Ningaloo Reef and Cape Range, thanks to the work of conservationists and scientists, was listed in 2011 on the World Heritage List. Exmouth Gulf was supposed to be part of that listing, but it got there was political interference and politics won out over the science. There was some industrial interests at work, and that meant that the Gulf got carved out of the World Heritage Area, and that means that the developers can still are still constantly trying to industrialise this incredible waterway, which is is a dugong stronghold and this the most significant humpback whale refuge in the country.
But you're bringing it to our attention, Tim, which is great. This is great.
Yeah. We're just doing what we can to get people to take it seriously. I mean, thankfully, we've been working the past 5 years. The WA government is committed to making the Gulf a marine park, and we're trying to get our federal environment minister to put the Gulf on the National Register of Heritage, and that's a pathway to get it back onto World Heritage.
And surely tourism for it would be better than, say, mining or whatever they do around there.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want people drilling for oil or building deep water ports. There's a mob who wants to build a deep water port right in the middle of the whale refuge. A kilometre long wharf that juts straight out. So you can imagine the pile driving, the massive dredging, the intense heavy shipping. That's just wrong place. It's so look. I think people will see the sense of looking after this place and the kind of the risks involved in industrialising it just are irresponsible. And I think a show like Ningaloo, hopefully will help people understand just how rich the place is, how fragile it is, and what we've got to do to look after it.
Tim, it's interesting you're talking about the last whaling station. I'm 61 years old, and when I was a kid, we lived in Perth for 2 years, and we went... I wasn't exactly sure where we were, but you've just described where we went for a holiday, and I saw a whale being flensed, and I've never gotten over it. And I told people that I had a childhood memory, and no one believed me, but it would have been the very tail end of that.
Yep, yeah, that's right. I mean, there's nothing quite like seeing a sperm whale having its head sawn off with a steam-driven saw. When I went to high school there, I saw one live whale during my whole high school years, and now you go to Ningaloo and you can see 50 in a morning.
That's
Wow.
But that was a pretty amazing, confronting experience when you were a kid. You would have been at the Frenchman Bay whaling station. I bet you still got the smell of it in your hair.
It's the smell. I can still smell it. Other kids went to Disneyland, and that's where we went.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tourist thing. I mean, we used to go out there and watch the tourists throw up. we were simple country kids.
It's simple. They were different times, weren't they?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's just it was just so. But I learnt from that. These were really fundamental experiences for me, and they made me interested in marine science. They made me interested in the natural world, and they made me a defender of the environment. I love storytelling, and that's my caper. I write books for a living, but I do this other stuff in my other life, so that our kids can kind of revel in the riches and the glory that we have here in Australia. We've got so much diversity, so much richness, and we take it for granted. And we're really at the risk, running the risk now of passing on to our children's children a kind of an impoverished state. We're trading while insolvent in many instances, and if we were a business in terms of our stewardship of the natural world, we'd be in jail basically.
Well, then maybe there's a book in it, a story of a man and a love of a dugong, and even though she's a vegan, he can probably
With terrible breath.
Yes, that's
come around.
right. It's like, you can just imagine, ill-fated love.
Ill-fated love. Well, Tim,
probably illegal love.
I think it would be. I don't know what the rule is on. It's mammals. So
yeah, true. Yeah. Well, there you go. And we are cousins, but
okay.
no, I'm sure there's a law against it. But look, it's platonic.
It's platonic.
And my love for the world is pretty passionate, but that doesn't mean that it's not platonic.
I think you're protesting a bit too much there, Tim.
It's okay.
Damn, you got me there.
Just answer the questions. Tim Winton, it's great to talk to you.
It's the vibe of it, Your Honour.
Ningaloo is on right now. It's streaming on the ABC, and really it's such a great watch. Thank you for joining us, Tim.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for having me.